Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And we're taking a look at the AKX again, and I'm going to be changing a couple of parts on this. So let's get to taking this thing apart. How easy is it? How difficult is it? There's a few people that have asked if the SAG Mark 2.1 rail would go onto this. I'm going to say no, and the reason for that is it should go on the front end. You get the barrel with it and the front sight gas block, so that'll all be fine. But where you normally have like a rear iron sight, the rail has to go over that, and this has got a Picatinny attached to it, and the top cover has a rail in it as well, so that's not going to fit under it. So I'm going to say that rail won't fit on the AKX without modification anyway. Let's take the magazine out. So we're going to have a look at stripping this thing down, and you can follow along too. Feel free to pause or anything like that if you're doing your AKX at the same time. We loosen the screw at the back, which pre-tensions the top cover, takes the slop out, and then we press the button and the top cover comes off. We can then pull the recoil spring out the back, and then we can also make sure it's not unsafe, and we can rock the bolt back and remove that as well. So the front end on this is actually really good. I really do like it. I have no plans to change this whatsoever. What I have done in the meantime is, you'll see, this is really, what I did was I pressed the little button down for the flash hider because it had a little bit of wobble to it if you touched it. So I just pushed the button down and I've just torqued this one more turn, so it will go 90% there. Then it got hard, so I just put a screwdriver through the flash hider and just torqued it down, because I don't plan on messing about with it or moving it off or anything like that. And that's made the flash hider rock solid. Just if you're doing that, just be very careful. So first we're going to take a 3mm Allen key or Allen driver, and we're going to take the two screws out the top of where the gas tube normally sits. This one has a rail attached to it. Lots of rail space on this thing. Honestly, after having a play with it, unless you want like a faux wood AK like the AKM, the AKX is the much better buy compared to the AKM. It just makes more sense having played with it now and seeing how it's all put together. You haven't got to do any fancy front ends to get M-lock. You got the folding stock, all that good stuff. I love my AKM, but the sole reason as well why I'm so interested in getting some parts out and putting some parts in this is because I think I'll be taking this to the game next weekend instead of my AKM. So let's get this stripped. We've got a T20 Torx on these screws. Now you just have to be careful with these screws, because although they've got a T20 Torx, which is good, they're very shallow, very shallow. So just be careful your Torx Allen key or screwdriver or whatever you're using. Just make sure it doesn't slip out like that. It's just because the channel's quite shallow. So we'll quickly pull these out. We've got two on each side, which are all the same countersunks T20s. So we're going to pull all these out, and then we have another one underneath. I'm not sure if this is the same length in terms of thread. Just have a quick check of that, because the last thing we want to do is mix the screws up. So the one on the bottom looks like it's the same. I'm going to keep it separate anyway, but if you get them mixed up, it shouldn't be too much of a bother. And then we can slide the very nice M-lock handguard out the front like that. Now what you have is M4 nuts. So you need an M4 Allen key or Allen driver. And we got one on the bottom, which is black in colour, and then we've got one on each side, which are silver. And what these three bolts do is they hold this block to the rifle, which is what you use to mount your rail, and of course your gas tube sort of interfaces with it as well, which is what makes it nice and solid. So you remove them three bolts. This will then slightly pivot like that. So what you want to do is pivot back and then down. So when I was trying to move it before, it won't just come off the front like that. So pivot down, pivot back, slide down off the bottom, and there you have it. And then once you've done that, it's the same as the AKM. You might struggle to see this. Let me spin it round the other way. Oh. So we've got 2 M4 bolts in the bottom there. Now these are very tight. So if you've got an Allen key, you'll be fine. I'm using Allen drivers, so what I'm going to have to do is use the old two driver technique where I've got the other one through the handle, which just gives me enough torque. So because it's so close to the barrel like this, with these Allen drivers, I haven't got enough grip to sort of loosen them off because my hands are hitting the barrel. I might get this side off because that side isn't too tight, but they do have thread lock on. The first time I did this, just to, because I did check before doing this video, and while I was stripping it down, because I was going to put hot rubber in it and stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm going to put it back together and do this process all over again, just so I can show you guys how to do it. Because, you know, some of you might be wondering how these things come apart. The bolts, especially these ones, are hidden. So you're just going to have to turn these off. Let me see if I could do this a little bit faster here. You know what, I'm going to go find a ratchet. Now you don't need these tools. This is just like a little torque wrench I've got. You don't need them. You can use an M4 Allen key, but when you're recording like I am, the last thing you guys want to be doing is seeing me do this motion for 5 minutes. And the other option around that is editing it, and I tend to like to try and do the videos without heavily editing them. So if I can just quickly do this and pull it out, then happy days. So I think that's mostly, yeah. They have got Loctite on them, which is why they're a little bit difficult. The second time I've took these out is a little bit easier. I've never re-Loctited these screws on my AKM, and they've never come loose. Right, 2 screws out like that. What you want to do is keep a little bit of positive pressure on the hop unit, like so, because they come out together. Otherwise you'll pull the barrel out and knock the hop and the inner barrel, and it gives things a chance to fall out and go missing. So pull the barrel out here. This is a 200mm barrel, same as the AKM. We've got a different colour on the hop arm. And to get this apart, what we're going to do, I did want to put a Lilacs barrel in this, but I just don't think I'm going to get the time to get one delivered and get it in before the event. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to run it, if I do end up using it, run it with the standard barrel, but I do want to put one of my hop arms and a flamingo hot rubber in. So once you've got that off, you can do these 2 screws like that. We can pull that off, pull the hop and the barrel out. We can take the old hot rubber off, and then we're going to be putting a Flamingo 60. These are my go-to rubbers for the Marui GBBRs, especially the MWS and the AK. Once we've got that fitted, dead easy, we're going to slot that back into place. Put the 2 halves together. Make sure we're centered. I think we're slightly off center somewhere. Like so. Screw these 2 fit screws back in. Like that. And the next part we're going to fit is the Jaeger 2.0 hop arm. The colour is very similar to the light arms, but anything bought from this period onwards is the 2.0 arm. And this is going to replace this arm here. Silver one. I'm not sure if they've added a little bit more extra patch on there or extra pressure on there. So we're going to pop this in and we'll see. Got a nice hot patch there. Now there's a few people that have commented saying they're getting a bit of sideways hop. I haven't experienced it myself. Oh, there we go. But the one way I can think that it might be happening, because have I got a straight edge? Have I got a straight edge anywhere? The way you'd tell, I mean, this is a very crude example. You put like a straight edge in there. Just trying to look for something to see if I've got, which I probably haven't. So you just put like a straight edge, like a metal rule or anything like that, and you'll see that this is perfectly 90 degrees. The only way I can think of people are experiencing that left hand hop is with maybe, if I can get this blooming hot wheel out now, he's over torquing this wheel down. Because if you do over torque this wheel, if I can get it in, there we go. What could happen is you could push, like screwing this down too tight, you could push the arm slightly to the right. That's the only thing that I can think is going on. So, because people have had issues. There was one guy that had an issue with his arm and he was convinced it was going to the left. I went through the troubleshooting with him, and then he said, I think he did say that all of a sudden it just started working. I think he said he took it apart, put it back together. And I think that could be, again, it's not the arm that's out. It's like an assembly thing, I think. So you'll feel this grab the O-ring and you can like torque it down, but you don't need to. So put your wheel on. And then we're just going to check it. Does it go all the way off? Yes, it does. We rotate it down. Sorry, you can't see this. And you'll see the hop is nice and flat there. Superb. Put a little bit of pressure on the hop. So there's the barrel done. The hop up done even. And then when I get chance, maybe I'll get chance before the event if I can get an order in with somebody. I think Lilacs do a 200mm barrel for the AKMs now. I've got a 250 in my large AKM, but what I'll probably do is just buy the normal MWS barrels, which I do in my AKM, and then I'll just turn it down on the lathe to 200mm. So we pop this back in. The barrel comes to approximately about here. So you haven't got much space to extend it much further, but you really don't need to. So once that's back together, you can slide this back into the receiver. Just quickly pop these screws in. As far as we can go. Now this is set to a really low torque setting, so don't worry about that. I just want it to get the bolts most of the way there. Like that until it stops. I'm not going to go past that because with something like a ratchet, you really can get the torque on with very little effort. So I'm just going to go back to the 2 screwdriver technique. I'm just going to torque it up by hand. It doesn't need to be insane. Like that. Once that's done, we can take our mounting block in, down, down, like that. Black screw on the bottom. I don't think it really matters all that much, but I'm one of those that likes to put things back where I found them. One, two, and three. Many of you have been asking about the downgrade valves for the AKM and AKX. They have been out of stock for a while, and it's literally just because I'm working on something new. It's just taking the same downgrade valves I've always done and making it adjustable. So trying to wrap my head around doing that. There's only a certain few ways that you can go about trying it. I've tried with little grub screws like the MWS. It's just, yeah, I think I've got something that will work, and the prototypes are being ran off. So I've done plastic prototypes, now I'll go to an aluminium prototype. And once that's done, I'll announce it, and then it should be available for you guys if you want it. Because there is a lot of guesswork with the valves, because nobody runs the same setups, everybody doesn't run the same barrels and hot rubbers. So there's a lot of variables that you can't account for, but we'll get there. I have seen as well, not that you guys care about it, but there's quite a lot of hate going around the Tokyo Marui pages at the moment, directed at myself, about the N Pass. I think it was Federal Concepts accused me of cloning it. Now, I've never seen a Federal Concepts product until it was brought to my attention that a lot of people were sort of yapping about me in the Discords, which is, I'm used to it by now. When you're successful at anything, you're always going to get people that don't like what you do. I just think it's kind of funny that, you know, I've made products that other, you know, competitors have made after me, and no one goes batting down their door saying that they've cloned my stuff. So it's, and I'm really not bothered. You know, it doesn't bother me if people have put the time in designing it, which I did do. I designed the N Pass live on the Discord with other people. We were putting ideas through. And I just think it's a bit cheeky, really, for a brand like that to say that you clone something when they've literally cloned the Marui MWS valve like I have, because you want it to work. And then there's only so many variations of what you can do at the rear end to make it adjustable without having to strip the bolt apart. So, you know, it's one of them things, but we'll get there in the end. Like I say, there's many products that I've designed and released that no one else has done, or other people have followed after, and yet they don't get the same hate. I think with the Tokyo Marui group, probably a minority, not the majority, it's very cliquey, and if you're not certain brands, if you're not, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? If you're not popular, it's like a popularity contest. You kind of get shunned, where there's a couple of creators in there that they can't do no wrong. But I'm not going to let it bother me. You know me, guys. I've got thick skin. I'm just going to crack on. If they want to worry about what I'm doing, then they won't be focusing on themselves, will they? Right, that's back together. Sorry for the rant, but I just wanted to clear it up because a lot of people speak shit online. Everyone thinks they know what's going on. That goes on the top. We talk at screw down, just with your fingers. There we go. We now have, I wanted to order a Bowmaster. I think I used the Bowmaster 130% spring in my AKM, which is phenomenal. But nowhere's got it in stock, especially in the UK. So what I might do, depending, I mean, it's quite an easy part to change. So if I'm out there at Gangster City next weekend and I decide I want to run the AKX, I'll just strip the springs and swap them over. Or I might just run it as it is. You know, it'll turn over a little bit slower, but it should still work absolutely fine. Get a bit of propane in this mag. Just give it a function test. Let's do the empty mag detection, turn it off. Yeah, absolutely fine. And there you have it. That's how you do hop and barrel in your AKX and how to strip the front end. Bolts are very, very easy to strip. I've never really had to mess with anything in the trigger box in my AKM, so this part of the gun is pretty much perfect. You don't really have to do anything. You know, perhaps in the next video we'll be putting some bits and pieces on this, tightening it up a little bit and making it ready for the weekend game. But as always, for this time, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Links in the description below, check them out. And from me, and more importantly, Bench, which hopefully will be a lot cleaner soon because I'm trying to do organisation stuff. We'll see you in the next video.